Regular meeting, March 25th, 2024, at 9:31 a.m. Show that a quorum is present. Currently, Commissioner Mims is absent from the room. First, we'll have the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll ask Commissioner Dixon to lead us in the invocation. Everyone, please stand.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we want to thank you for this day. And Lord, I just lift up this county. I lift up all the residents of this county. I lift up all the people who are servants of Anderson County, Lord, that are here working today, Lord, just to make this a better community to live in. Lord, I want to thank you for the men and women who are, Lord, just being away from their families and giving up their time, Lord, to fight for our freedom. Lord, I ask you to watch over them and just bring them back to their families safely. Lord, watch over us today with any decisions we make. Lord, just guide us and direct us. And Lord, thank you for all you do. It's in Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment? All right, next item on the agenda is item number 4, consent agenda. The consent agenda is considered to be self-explanatory, will be enacted with one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items. However, any consent agenda item may be removed for individual consideration pursuant to a request by a Commissioners Court member. We've got budget amendments. We've got budget amendments, and that's for 2023, number 207. And for 2024, budget amendment number 14. And we've got bills to approve. Do we have any utilities crossing county roads?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir, I have not.
All right. No utilities crossing county roads. We've got the,
Rashad's got one, I'm
does?
sorry. Yeah, I just looked at it.
okay, can you,
Yes, sir, he's gonna have a utility crossing on 2610
okay.
and a utility crossing on 2608.
Okay.
Not familiar with what they are.
All right, so we can approve those two. The treasurer's report, we need to be giving those by our county clerk.
All right, gentlemen, please raise your right hand, please. I swear that you read the treasurer's report, believe to the best of your abilities.
I do.
Yes, I have. Okay. Sheriff's report, county clerk's report, tax assessor's, collector's report, district attorney's report, auditor's report, district clerk's report, IT reports, JP reports, constable reports, veterans report, collections report, historical commission reports. On the veterans report, just bring the court up to speed real quick. Mr. Deckard is working on his certification online. We got it all set up in his office. IT got his phones, computers all set up. This is kind of, as soon as he started, we had that stuff in place for him, okay? And so he's working on his certification and working with Patsy.
Deal.
So just to let y'all know. Collections report, historical commission report. We got minutes for regular meeting, December the 11th, 2023, February the 5th, 2024, and February the 16th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
Want these utility crossings for Mark, does he need?
Okay.
They're all in there. Oh, Rashad's.
All right, item number 5. Yeah, I think y'all got copies of that in your packets. Let me get to my copy here. Is this on the side?
Yes, sir.
Mark will be able to get that there. All right, this is a resolution, and there's also a certificate for the clerk to fill out also, but it's a resolution to essentially allow, bonds to be issued with regard to the, Christus, new medical center. And, I had talked to, their representative, and if you'll look, let me go to the page of the resolution. Look at number 2 on page 2, and there's an in bold statement. They've had a public hearing on this, and it was online, but, it says the approval herein granted is solely for purposes of satisfying the requirements of the code and shall not be construed as a representation, a warranty, or other understanding of any kind by the county in respect to the bonds or the Anderson County facilities. The bonds shall not constitute obligations of the county or a pledge of its faith and credit, and the county shall not be obligated to pay the bonds or the interest thereon, otherwise incur any liability in respect thereof. I also had McCrary, Vasilka, and Bragg's attorney, our tax attorneys, to look over it just to get a second set of eyes, and they didn't see anything that caused a problem there. But what essentially, it's a resolution approving the issuance of bonds by Tarrant County Cultural Education Facilities Finance Corporation on behalf of Christus Health to finance and/or refinance the cost of health facilities located in Anderson County and with respect to a public hearing. And I think you had some of the documents from the public hearing and the notices in the newspaper that are attached there too. But essentially what we're doing is approving the resolution just to say that we're not in opposition to them issuing bonds for the, to build a health facility there on the loop, okay? Any questions?
No, sir.
That's concerning the new little emergency center they're gonna
Correct.
build, right? Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution and authorize the county clerk to sign the certification. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mims. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
Utility cross was through. Yeah, you had two. Yeah, I'm trying to think what it was. I didn't send it to Mark.
All right, item number 6 is here a presentation from GTS Technology Solutions, iPro Safety Support Representative on implementation and installation of Anderson County Sheriff's Office mobile video, CAD, AVL, and mobile RMS projects, and consider and take action on any proposals moving forward to complete this project. And today we've got Tracy Simmental here with GTS, and she's got a presentation and some documents that we got late Friday, and I'm gonna pass those out as she goes through her presentation. Let me go ahead and pass this one up here.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning, and
Commissioners.
you may have to
Thank you
fill
for
that there.
thank you for having us out. Yes, a couple weeks ago, the judge reached out and asked that, and Mr. Webb, Chief Deputy Webb, reached out and asked that GTS come back and talk about the iPro in-cars video solution that Anderson County seems to be struggling with. And so I
You're
thought
probably gonna have to get close to the mic.
the rain has
You can pull it down, son.
pull it down.
No, it'll pull down the
The
podium,
whole base of it.
the whole base of the microphone.
There you go.
Yes, better.
Much better.
Better,
Okay.
thank you. All right. Anyway, I'm glad to stand here today in front of you and present on behalf of GTS Technology Solutions. Before we dive into the issue at hand that was brought up a couple of weeks ago in Commissioner's Court, I thought I would give an introduction about who we are as a company, just so you understand who you've engaged with, not to mention GTS, but iPro as well. 40 years in business. Been around since 1984. GTS is a small employee-owned company. We have about 140 employees, but we are not a stranger to the public sector. That is where we spend most of our time, effort, and energy, is supporting public agencies such as yourself. We hold over 40 DIR contracts, which is probably one of the reasons why your iPro representative engaged us, so that we could sell you the hardware and software solutions needed. We are headquartered in Austin, Texas, but we have facilities in Dallas and Houston. My name, Tracy Simonton, I'm the VP of Services, and so I've been with GTS a little over 6 years. My background before that was I was the CTO of a small school district in East Texas for 17 years, and my husband is a retired state trooper, so we are both public sector family, public servants. GTS's mission is to provide custom IT solutions with honesty, integrity, and pride, and that is something that we definitely adhere to. We take responsibility for delivering the highest quality of customer satisfaction, and will continually grow our reputation by exceeding the expectations of our employees, customers, and partners. GTS stands for Give Through Service. It's not just an acronym in front of Technology Solutions, but it is something that is in our culture. We give through service, and we like to give back to the communities that we live and work in every day. We started a foundation back in 2017 that solidified the Give Through Service brand, and every month our company engages in service activities with organizations around the state. And with agencies that we're honored to serve. So that's the company that stands before you today. Our offerings, we do IT staffing, we do professional and managed services, and we provide technology solutions through hardware and software. Some municipalities purchase all three of these strands from us, some only purchase one or two. You get to cherry pick. That's one of the nice things about the menu that we offer. We are not a manufacturer. We are a reseller. And so we resell hardware and software, and then we package services along with that as your needs may come about. Public safety is an area that we've been in strong since 2012. We are very familiar with all of the technology around public safety. And we have over 400 rugged customers across the state of Texas that we have done business with successfully. We just finished an 1,100 unit deployment from City of Fort Worth, just to give you an idea of the depth and breadth of the work that we're capable of. But they purchased both not only our hardware and software, but our professional services as well. Today we're here to talk about the Anderson County in-car video solution project. You partnered with iPro, so I want to be very clear. GTS just resold hardware to you. Your software and installation and implementation scope of work is actually signed with you and iPro. iPro is a partner of ours, which we stand behind, and we're happy to support them in the endeavors. You have 3 different partners that are in your solution, iPro and NetMotion being the most integral ones, and you also have Cradlepoint, which is part of the connectivity as well. So this is a complex project that you have going on here. This is not some easy throw together. It is very complex, and you've got multiple vendors involved. And so I can see where confusion became if you did not have someone overseeing the project as a whole from all the different vendors that you engaged with to make your purchase. Any questions about that portion? The project objectives was the installation of the UDE software and the system to match the department specifications, the configuration of the body-worn cameras, the configuration of the recorders, and the training on the new systems and the training on the front-end use inside the cars. This is in the scope of work that you signed with iPro. Progress since March 20th. So in January, GTS was engaged by Anderson County with some problem they were having on the Cradlepoint part of the installation. GTS was not made aware of any issues that have been since products were sold back in July. Apparently there's been a lot going on, but not as much as you would like to have seen. Progress was delayed on multiple fronts, which is, has a tendency to happen in large-scale projects that have a variety of vendors and moving parts. I believe the car showing up, not in July, but later on in the year was one of the major roadblocks of getting your implementation done in a timely manner. But anyway, in January, when we were engaged, we started reaching out to vendors. Mike and Tex have been very responsive to information that was given to them in January. Again, we were engaged by Mr. Webb, Chief Deputy Webb, and the judge on what could we get done to make this project move forward even faster. It was quickly becoming a little bit out of control, and there was a lot of vendors. For lack of a better word, I think the word finger pointing was used a couple weeks ago. And so there was just confusion on who was responsible for what and who needed to make it happen. So GTS did step in. We reached out to our partners. These are our partners, and got everyone engaged with Mike and Tex. And we've made great progress since then, just in the communication. I think
It's been in 3 days.
Yes.
The service.
Yes.
My first phone call in contact with y'all was last Wednesday, correct?
Correct. Yes.
I didn't interrupt you, but
We
I
were,
wanted to make sure
yes.
the court was clear on that.
For sure. Three days ago, last week, was when we really got a lot of the work done. I think the biggest piece that we did was provided a completed scope of work to the IT team, who was not really aware of the full project, depth, breadth, and scope. Once they had the scope of work in their hands and realized all of the deliverables that were responsible from Anderson County to make this project happen, they started moving forward on those initiatives. Those initiatives include a NetMotion and server installed and license activated, up and running, the firewall configuration from communication in the car to the server, and they've deployed software to 4 in-car devices, and video uploads are occurring. And then the latest milestone on Friday was a data transfer was successful to the NetMotion server. So these are large pieces that were delays right now in the main communication. Communication channels established and critical information available that was paramount to project success. That's the scope of work that we also talked about. Server specifications discussed. So there's additional hardware that Anderson County needs to purchase in order to make this project fulfilled. And we have provided quotes and discussed what those specifications are for the remaining hardware. Again, just to provide information to the IT team, you definitely do not need to purchase those things from us. We're just trying to be helpful in letting you understand the pieces that you have remaining that will make this project complete. Next steps. So Anderson County needs to do the following things in order to make this go all the way through to completion. You need to order a couple of more servers. Those were lined out in the scope of work to begin with. They have yet to be purchased, and they're critical for the project to be implemented. The verification of the streaming server setup specifications, I think this morning, as a matter of fact, you got information on the streaming server. That is an internal server that I believe Anderson County is going to use on their VMware setup. So that's not an additional purchase, but it is a configuration that needs to take place. The NetMotion server, again, another server, may require additional configurations as your other servers are brought online to make everything talk together. The iPro tablets, now that configuration on 4 has been successful, you'll have to duplicate that to the other remaining in-car units and make sure that all the connectivity is working as you expect it to be. The Meraki antenna that was installed in the parking lot, I believe it needs to be moved up for maximum coverage of a location to upload video. My understanding is that you're having complications right now based on the location of where the cars come into the lot, that you cannot get coverage or connection. We know that it is about the distance that you need to increase the height of that. And then absolute software installation and configuration on 24 in-car devices still needs to be done. So you're about halfway through a major project implementation, and you've done it thus far without any outside management of that. Chief Deputy Webb is the internal project manager that was named on it. That's a typical setup for a project of this size. What I offered to the judge was our project management services. We do this fairly often. What we do is we manage all the vendors and make sure that the work is moving forward as expected. We coordinate with your internal project manager. And we make sure that there's weekly updates to council such as yourself to keep you fully informed.
I'm gonna need that quote on the project then.
Sure. We don't think that you'll actually use all the hours listed on here. That is an amount that we are very comfortable with in case we run across additional problems. But seeing how much progress has already been made, again, we don't anticipate having to use all those program hours that are listed on there. We only bill you for hours that are used. We do believe that there will be some additional Cradle Point configuration, which is why we have professional services listed on the line item and not just project management, because in the event that you do need additional Cradle Point certification, I want you to be able to utilize our technicians that we have in-house that we just used at the City of Fort Worth implementation. We have.
You have a project manager.
You would have a
That's gonna
project
be
manager
GTS
assigned to you.
person
Correct.
That knows all of the components to put this thing together.
Yes.
To make it work. And if you look, if the commissioners will look, because I went over this in depth on, let's see. There's no page number, so it's the one that's got the, services, GTS project manager at the bottom, this page. Mm-hmm. Y'all see that? Okay. Look right above it, and, just above that green line that says pricing, it says period of performance. The term of this contract begins upon full execution. This document continues until the project completion. Contractor estimates it will take approximately 4 weeks to complete this project. I bring that up because something that we've been working on with Tyler Technologies for the last several months. And in December, I had asked the question of Tyler Technologies. It was making number one the priority for the Sheriff's Department to do their UCR reports, because we lost a $125,000 grant, law enforcement grant, because that was not in place. So that was number one priority, and working on the bonds was the second project. So I talked to Mike the other day and asked, where are we at on that project? Because Tyler Tech told me on the phone, and I believe IT was on the call too, or on a Teams meeting, is that January the 9th, that was gonna be, they were working full force to try to get that done by February so we could do our UCR reports. But then when I asked him the other day about it, then Absolute or Net Motion has to be in place before Tyler Tech for this project. So this project is actually delayed Tyler Tech and moving forward with getting their UCR reports. So this is not just one project that we're talking about here. We're talking about potentially losing grants too. So time is of the essence. I just wanted to emphasize that to the court so y'all would know, okay?
Just
Now,
a side note, 2 of the grants is personnel funded out of the DA's office. We didn't lose them,
DAs, victims,
Right.
advocates and all.
just so the court knows that.
And we're fixing to have to renew those grants. Okay, so, I'm sorry, go ahead,
Oh,
Tracy.
you're
I just-
perfectly fine, perfectly fine.
And the quote is $14,915 for 157 hours, and $95 an hour. And that's essentially turnkey
And they
from the
cr-
standpoint of a project manager.
From the standpoint of a project manager, the project manager will be assigned until it's completed and signed off on.
And like iPro, they're gonna have to take care of their portion.
Yes,
Some
the
of the
objective
other vendors.
of the project manager is to ensure that the other vendors fulfill their obligations under their scopes of work that they have signed.
Cradle Point will have some.
Cradle Point, no, not Cradle Point, NetMotion and, hello. iPro, sorry, I just totally lost, it was
all right.
iPro and NetMotion are the ones that you have agreements with. Cradle Point, we can send out an internal technician that is Cradle Point certified to help with any of that. Cradle Point's not in any portions of your scope of work configuration, but I know that they can work with Mike and Tex, and you'll be just fine.
I was being respectful to your comments and not cutting you off, but this is,
Sorry.
carries on what Judge was saying. This goes to Megan. Megan, on the, crime victims grant and the Bible grant, those are administered through the COG, right?
Yeah, they go through ECOG.
Yes, that's what I thought.
I'd actually, called, or emailed EdCog to see if this would affect the next upcoming grants, and she said she'd find out, so I really don't even know if the UCR reporting will, because last
I think
year.
we already approved them last week.
Well,
before
last year, the state already approved them before it came out to not approve the JAG because of it. But this year, I don't know.
I know we had three grants on there for Anderson County DA office, and I think both of those were on
We
there
had
2 weeks ago.
We had two for the DA.
Okay, well, those two were there.
Right, they go through EdCog, but if the state chooses not to fund it because of the UCR reporting like they did JAG, then they won't fund it. They won't award the grant.
Here's a quote for the redaction server that GTS gave us. Are we good with the redaction server that they quoted, or is that something we need to talk about? It's okay, I'm just asking a question.
We've asked them for other quotes.
Okay.
But that base, that's at least on it.
Okay. So these servers, IT, some of this we just found out about, on some of this storage. GTS staff, did Mark get one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, everybody got one?
Megan did get one.
Okay. On the servers, correct me if I'm wrong on something, okay, but they spec'd out they assessed our size department, the other day, I think Nathan did. And they started looking at, our size department, what the typical storage should be. They got with IT, they spec'd out one for cost for us, but IT, and I'll let them speak to that in a minute, but just briefly, they want to take and look and see, from our vendor, what the cost would be in comparison to this, because then that way we would be using the same components as what we already have in our stack for storage.
Is that the redaction server you're talking about?
No, well, I'm talking about in general, both of them, okay? Because there's another, this one is, I'll go ahead and hand this one out. This is the quote from GTS on the servers for storage. And I requested a copy of the SOW, the statement of work, that was signed back in July. And the first time we'd seen that, IT had seen that, was actually last Wednesday, when it was emailed to me. So. But, the server that they, spec'd out was $29,155.82. Again, okay, you kinda got through with your PowerPoint. Let me ask this, cause there may be some more questions that
Sure.
Corey has of you. But I want IT to address about the servers and any other things that they feel like that moving forward, what we need to do.
Sure. It looks like we're gonna need, now, to start out with, we initially had our talks with Tyler Tech, and I believe we also had them with GTS in the beginning. And they did say that we were going to have minimal server footprint. I will say that was started out as 3 servers, now is 6 servers. Possible 7th server that has not been spun up yet, that we've all adopted into our network. So I will say that that part has been, we did not have to spend a dime. That was all internal. We had the footprint to put new servers in there. We did not expect the RAM to go ahead and get boosted the way it did for the NetMotion server. So I have ordered more RAM, but that so far has been really good. We didn't have to spend for physical servers, because you're seeing what the cost is with the GTS quotes for the physical servers.
Those are at cost, from what I understand. They're given free
because of the situation we're in, they're selling those to us just for whatever they're getting them at, notwithstanding any professional services that are going with that.
And we do have the storage space that we just bought, but of course, with not knowing what this project would incur, for storage space, which originally started at 3 terabytes, has moved up to 4 terabytes and now about to be 5 terabytes. So, well, actually, sorry, 5 terabytes is what we're at now, about to be 8. But we have the space in the current environment. That's why we wanted to go ahead and say, on the storage side, let us look and make sure that we get the right fit.
Yeah, one of the, when we purchased, when we were back here this past summer talking about the storage device that we bought, and we made the big proposal about it, we scoped it out for a 7-year term with 15% growth per year, and that's the industry standard for scoping out growth over a period of time.
And that was for the whole county.
Correct, that's for the whole county. We anticipated being able to absorb the new amount of data that's coming in from the sheriff's office from these body cams. So what we did was we took the amount that they were currently using for body cams at the time, we tripled it, and then used that to begin our estimation. And that was a lot less than what they're actually using. And we want the sheriff's office to be comfortable with the amount of space that they have. So as Judge McKinney was illustrating earlier with the $29,000 server, that is if we buy GTS's storage device and put it into our rack. It's GTS's in terms that they're selling it to us, but it's not a GTS branded device. There's nothing particularly special about it that causes it to work better with this system than anything else. One of the, as Judge McKinney outlined, we would like to buy an expansion shelf for the device that we already have. That way it adds less complexity to our system. It's easier to manage. So that way we don't have, it'll save us on the number of physical ports that we have on our switch, because all of that was something that we weren't expecting to have sucked up so quickly. Those are supposed to be for long-term expansion, and that would, so, you know, what would, unfortunately, in the IT game, quotes take a very long time to get. A lot of this information is very new and coming up very quickly, and so I don't have another quote prepared for you all today, but it is at least a baseline for what it is that we're looking at, and that would be for, again, the next 7 years. I mean, it's a one-time purchase for a while, and that's what we're.
But the redaction server is required, and that's required now.
Yes, the redaction server is required in order for this project to be completed.
And GTS emphasized that.
Yes.
And that has to be a physical server.
Yeah.
It cannot be virtual, which we could spin up today if we could do it as a virtual, but
Right.
we just don't have the
We have asked them for a second quote. The second quote will likely be more expensive because what we're asking for is one that will actually rack or mount in our rack so that it's not a standalone. Basically, this one is just like a desktop computer that you have on your desk, like this one here that Mark's got. It's fine. It's going to do the job, but it doesn't have. Again, when it mounts in our rack, then you have less chance of problems happening, physical problems, a power plug coming undone, or just little things like that. And we want to make sure again that we're setting ourselves up for success in the future.
Okay, what Nathan spec'd on the servers for the storage?
Well, that's just storage.
I know it's just
Okay.
for storage. My
Yes.
question is he's giving you the specs on how many terabytes or whatever it's
And
gonna take
that's with
to-
5-year growth.
to be equal to what is necessary for them to get this project done and for it to last for a period of time, not for 6 months or not for 2.
Oh yeah, that will.
We need to make sure that we're doing this like we've tried to plan for the whole county.
That will last, according to Nathan's estimations, that will last us for 5 years at least.
And so what you're asking is maybe for us to budget a certain amount for these servers, and we've still got ARPA money for this project.
Right.
And so that's what I'm asking. I'm gonna ask the court that we take and do the project manager, and that we allot enough funds out of that ARPA money to complete this project. and our target is hopefully sooner, but maybe 4 to 6 weeks. I'm looking at giving a little grace if we're trying to get the right servers that match with what we have already installed. So, the thing is, the customer is actually the taxpayers of Anderson County. The sheriff's department's the user. But the whole point of trying to do this is to give resources to the deputy sheriffs and the jailers to make their jobs safer and more efficient. So if we look at it holistically like that, we've got an opportunity to get a project manager that knows all the players, that knows all the equipment and how things work, to come in here and oversee this project to bring it to its finality. So the sheriff's office has got what we planned, because I supported this. I was the first one to speak up and say they needed this for a long time. If y'all remember when we did it back in March of last year. We've been going a whole year on this project.
When we speak to GTS, it's very efficient because they already know everything from A to Z, how things are supposed to happen, how they're supposed to work. And so when we have a question, they can supply an answer very quickly. There's no learning curve that they have to learn a system, get used to it, ask questions. That's not there. We could hit the ground running tomorrow and start getting a lot more of this.
And I'll just say this, because I had questions at that last court meeting, but I made one phone call and I got a quick response. We had a Teams meeting with IT and with Tracy and with Dan, and they got with all their administrative staff and their owner. And I'll just say this, I hadn't seen anybody produce customer service like GTS did in this response in 3 days. And so, I'll say that about it, okay? And we already got some things. Mike had already been scheduling with Absolute or NetMotion. It took 5 weeks to get scheduled, and Thursday, he sat down for 3.5 hours with NetMotion and described what you got done. Where are we at on that? Because we had nothing done, so where are we at now?
So all 3 servers that Absolute wanted up for the VPN got finalized, and they are now connecting up to with 4 cars that we have, well, tablets that we have gone ahead and gotten the software on so far.
Yeah, and getting the other cars set up is a unique situation because, public servants work 24 hours in very weird schedules, and they have the tablets, so we have to put our hands on every one of them. So it's scheduled, and Nick's doing a great job of getting them in. We've had them roll in. We had one roll in right when I was walking out to come over here today. So we're really doing our best to get those up, and it won't take long. It is a little bit unique.
Judge?
Yeah.
I misspoke, when I sent you how much was left on the SO project, because I believe Synergy came out of that as well.
Okay, but we hadn't spent the whole 16,000, correct?
No, I mean, we haven't
I mean,
received a bill at all
We've
yet.
got about 8 hours or 16 hours so far.
Right. I know, I'm just telling you,
At the max.
what was approved in court was for the entire, if we paid the entire thing.
So how much without?
It was 16, wasn't it, or was it 18?
16.
50. That's what I come up with.
We got 15,000 left.
50,
I'm
50.
sorry. That sounds better.
Okay,
Okay, 50,000 left.
yes, sir.
Okay, so if we were to take and disengage Synergy and engage with GTS to be the project manager, and this could have been done at the very beginning, would have been probably done with this 6 months ago, okay? But that was not quoted because we didn't ask for the professional services or the project manager to be quoted, so it's kind of a bare bones quote's what we got for the equipment and some support, so.
And on our end, we're gonna, every project that I've got will be put on hold to hit this 100% so that we can get this done. I want the sheriff's office to be happy with their product.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve a statement of work and agreement GTS Technology Solutions as our project manager. Let me find my quote here. As our project manager for the installation of Anderson County Sheriff's Office mobile video, CAD, AVL, and mobile RMS projects. And, to complete the project for the amount of $14,915, that we also, and that comes out of the ARPA money scheduled for this project, that we, stop services with Synergy, so we can take those funds that are left, pay them for what is owed for their services today. And, stop services with Synergy and utilize that money, for what has, been identified by GTS, as the project manager, as well as the storage space and the redaction server. And I want to ask that in that, or put in that motion, that we set aside $35,000 for storage in the ARPA money for the storage for the servers, and another $5,000 for the redaction server. So essentially, the $14,915, $35,000 for servers for storage, and $5,000 for redaction server be set aside in ARPA funds. And that's my motion.
Judge, before we do that, should we let, the chief maybe put in any input that he might have on it, since he's over the project?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask, if, Nick or a representative from the sheriff's department come forward. How's the standpoint of Synergy and what we engaged last court? I mean, can you give us a?
We've been happy with what Synergy's done up to this point. It took them a day or so to get up to speed and figure out exactly where we were, and what we needed from there. At the end of the day, commissioners, I don't care who manages the project, we just need it done. But I do agree that there needs to be a project manager. I thought I could manage it myself to begin with, and I'll admit my failings, I was mistaken. There was too many moving pieces. So at the end of the day, there are a few things that I was planning on going ahead and buying out of that ARPA money toward the end of this project. One is we realized up here recently that our transport vehicles are never in one place long enough to upload. So right now we're having to pull the drives and upload them physically, which is a tedious process. So I'll need to spend probably about another $4,000 per vehicle on the transport vehicles in order to get them where they need to be. I'm just letting you know what was coming out as a request out of that ARPA money anyway. Additionally, I was going to try to buy at least one, maybe two spare tablets in case we have something go down. That way we didn't have to take away one that was assigned to somebody else in order to get them back to work. But nonetheless, you know, whatever the pleasure of the court is fine with me.
Well, since we've engaged with Synergy, I said, would it not be a good plan to get a second opinion on the completion of this thing with them being able to see as much as they have now?
I certainly wouldn't be opposed to that, Commissioner.
Let me ask a question.
Yes, sir, Judge.
Tell me what they've done today in 2 days, because they started Wednesday.
Well, they've worked with IT to help complete the projects that you mentioned before were completed.
Okay, so, and say, I want everybody on the same page, okay, we're making a decision. Net motion, Mike spent 3.5 hours sitting on the telephone, because I was back there at times. Synergy's representative sat and watched Mike do it for 3.5 hours.
Okay.
So we're paying hourly wage for somebody to sit and watch our IT people do work. When we did back up, another one, I've heard they've done such a great job down there on the nurses' Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they brought a subcontractor in, from what I can tell from the names that was on their shirts. They were running the wire.
Mm-hmm.
Mike went down there, put the switch in, did all the programming, all the IT work. All they did was run wire. The electrician could have done that. And we paid them about $4,000 or $5,000 more than what IT could have done it for ourselves. So what I'm saying is, I didn't want to get into this, but right now, we got an opportunity to finish your project, and I appreciate you, because sometimes we all bite off more than we can chew. We need some help, okay?
Sure.
At the same time, you're talking about some other tablets and all. In that motion, I didn't take up all that ARPA money. If we cease and desist on doing anything else for Synergy, we should have the money to do some other things. That didn't expend all of it from what I'm thinking. If it's 50 and we got another 15,000, we probably can take care of doing some of that stuff. And I'll be the first one to say, if we need to buy something else, I'll try to help you with a budget item, okay? I just want your project done. It's taking lots of time away from IT. We need to get the project done for the safety of the officers and to work efficiently, and you get that off of your back.
You know, I wholeheartedly agree with that point, Judge. Now, to your point about the Mike going down and installing the switch and all of that, it was because Mike insisted that he do that he configure the Meraki's and install the switch, and
you're
you know,
right. You're right.
and that's fine. You know, I had set it up so he didn't have to if he didn't want to, but he insisted on doing it, and I don't blame him for that. But, you know, at the end of the day, as I said in the beginning, I don't have an interest in who completes the project as long as it's completed. I've been happy personally with what Synergy's done for us and how well they've communicated with us. I assumed that GTS would do that too. But nonetheless, the only drawback that I have is when I expressed what our goal was when we began this project, when I was sitting in the room with J.D. Rowell of GTS and Andrew Tannis and others from iPro, I said, I want this project to be done where our IT doesn't have to have any involvement, or at least very, very minimal involvement. Now, I'll fall on my sword where I made a mistake, and that is that when the quotes came in, I missed the fact that there was no professional services quote for the NetMotion and the Cradlepoint piece. And, you know, 100% accept responsibility for that, because as a project manager, it was my responsibility. But beyond that, you know, once we got to a place where I realized that there was no project manager, because initially I reached out to iPro and said, and expressed back in January, and expressed my my issue with not having a project manager. I got an email from somebody with iPro, and I actually looked for it briefly this morning but couldn't find it. But I got an email from somebody from iPro that explained what the pieces of the project was and how they should play out. It did not indicate that we would have to secure third-party vendors to do any of these projects. So, you know, at that point, I thought, okay, we've got a project manager now. And then I never heard from them again, so I reached out to iPro again. And once I had a meeting with iPro and GTS last week, that was when I came to the realization that it was just my oversight. Their statement of work was very clear. GTS was just an equipment vendor for us in this project, and iPro was the manufacturer who agreed to provide installation and training. And they've done both of those things, and even came down an additional week to do installation because they weren't quite done. So, you know, like I said, at the end of the day, it matters to me not who the vendor is that does the project, as long as we get it done. And, you know, I think either direction, we'll wind up getting it done, so.
I appreciate it. I guess I look at it like if I went down and bought a brand new pickup from a dealership, and then I get it home and the electronics don't work on it, I'm not gonna go take it to another mechanic to figure it out. I'm gonna take it back to the owner. That's what I'm asking the court to do. Let's go back to GTS and iPro. GTS sold us the equipment. They're willing to come in here. And I can just tell you, they threw a lot of work in 3 days putting all this stuff together and gathering a lot of information, and they impressed me. So, my motion is on the floor. I'm asking for a second. I'd like to get
My
this
problem
project
is
done.
we've had this thing for over a year and nobody stepped up to do anything, and we've engaged with a third-party vendor, and now everybody in 3 days is getting the job done. So what changed? That would be my question to you.
Yep. One thing that changed is neither this court nor IT was furnished the statement of work that was signed in July of last year. This court didn't approve it. It's a contract. And therein lies the problem from the standpoint is there's, just like Nick said, he tried to manage it. There is so much in there that's listed, it amazed me when I started reading through that when I got it Wednesday. But I'd rather not even go there. I'm trying to do this.
Well, just a question, I mean, we're dealing with it, and I'm just wondering.
But for all this year, until Wednesday, none of us, not even this court, has seen that agreement. And there was a great deal required from Anderson County, the customer. And so I'm just saying, let's do this. We got an opportunity to go back and probably do this, or not go back, but we're to start right now, like it should have been from the beginning, just like Nick said, we should have gotten professional services to go with the equipment and the installation. That's all I'm saying. We have that opportunity right now, and they've discounted this service. I can tell you that they are a customer service oriented. Some people just sell you the equipment and you're on your own. I could see that even when I asked the very first person on the very first phone call, he said, we're gonna make this happen. Okay? That comes from the top down. That was not the top. So that's the attitude of this company. So I'm staking what I've investigated and listened to these people, and I think we need to get this project up. Let's put anything else aside. Let's get this project finished. They've given a schedule of 4 weeks, and we've been at it for a year. So my motion's on the floor. I'm asking for a second.
And what was your motion again?
Oh, Lord.
Was it for the,
Okay, my motion, I'll just do it again.
for the,
okay?
okay.
All right, my motion is that we engage and sign a statement of work and a contract with GTS, Technology Solutions. Let me find my quote.
Me or Nick?
To complete the mobile video CAD, AVL, and mobile RMS projects for the Anderson County Sheriff's Office with their quote of, let me find it.
14915.
I think it's.
Okay, here you
got it.
For $14,915 as the project manager to complete this project that we set aside or encumber for this project $35,000 in ARPA money for the storage servers and another $5,000 for the redaction server to be determined between our interaction between our IT staff and GTS's staff, okay? That we cease the other, work by Synergy to, so that we can utilize those funds, pay them for what work they've done to date, and be able to utilize that, what's left of that money, which is somewhere it's probably gonna be in the neighborhood of $15,000, along with the 50, we got 50 balance, correct?
Yes, sir.
Along with a $50,000 balance to, finish this project.
When will the $29,000 purchase come in play?
Well, that won't, okay,
I mean-
for clarification, right now, we have storage because of the 7-year storage that these guys did back last year. Remember when we bought all that storage that lasted 7 years? So it's not so critical that be done today. The redaction server has got to be done. Okay, they've got to have it to complete the project. And GTS is gonna have that in place, okay? The storage space, what we can do is let them go out for quotes and let Mike quote, servers that are already the same type servers of what we have, so we're not changing brands, okay? And that way, it interfaces with everything that we got without a problem, okay? So, we need to get that in place, and we need to do it as soon as we can. We got a little bit of time for Mike to get quotes on those, and we can be competitive, but we've got a $29,155.82, should it come down to it. And that's their cost on this server, okay? But I'm listening to IT from the standpoint, we wanna make sure everything interfaces with our system and it doesn't create some other problem, okay? Does that sound reasonable, Tracy?
Standardization is best for an IT team.
And y'all had this conversation late Friday afternoon, I didn't get to be on that call, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so Nathan was in agreement that's possible? Okay, all right,
And if we go with this company, you're saying 4 to 6 weeks it should be done?
yes, sir,
The project should be completely done?
that's the goal. That's what they actually put in writing.
What do we do if we get to that point and it's not done?
Well, it says till completion,
Is that correct?
it says till completion,
We would just.
so that's the price.
You have some, so.
Can you come to the mic? See, Mark's got me trains.
That's, yes, so you're gonna have some dependencies for hardware ETAs. Once you order the hardware, then that would really begin to move the other portions of the project along. And so, yes, GTS is committed to sticking with the program and project until it's completed for you guys. That's our commitment. I mean, we also want to see this through for taxpayer dollars, the men and women in law enforcement. I mean, we feel the same way.
She stated that earlier. Yeah, for a second.
Oh, I don't know if that, you waiting on a second?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, ma'am, what was the name of the other company you stated that was in here doing the work along with, your company that was a third party?
Pro.
iPro and NetPro.
Now, with them getting it done, will there be any additional cost for them?
No, you are still capitalizing on the purchases that you made. There's some line items on the absolute net motion quote that is a line of services that had not been used. So we don't there are no other hidden costs in any of those other configuration pieces. When you were quoted those items, it was, again, hardware and services from that particular vendor, iPro, hardware and software and services from NetMotion. And again, you just really need someone as an overlay to make sure that all those pieces are getting done in the order they need to be done and with some urgency, those types of things that need to take place around a project of this scope.
What was the initial price of purchase?
$528,000, yes,
I was thinking.
That was for the equipment.
yes.
And I think it included some hours with iPro.
Some services through iPro and some services through NetMotion were included in that.
Well, I'll second your motion, but I would really like in 4 to 6 weeks for this project to be complete and move on down the road with something else.
I agree.
And I do agree with Commissioner Chapin that, we brought this 2 courts ago. Now all of a sudden everybody's jumping through hoops to make it work. But, like I say, I'm gonna second your motion, and 4 to 6 weeks, I'd sure like this project to be completely done.
And there are weekly reports and monthly reports that are in that SOW that need to be done to the court too. All right, I have a motion by Judge McKinney, a second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye.
Judge, can I ask,
Aye.
Excuse me.
we got enough eyes, all right, I was just gonna ask one question. On the, second, I thought about seconding, but I was wondering, I know you're stating that you wanna go ahead and get that 29,155, but you also said that we didn't.
35,000 set aside for those servers. I'm not asking to purchase that.
He's gonna
Not
come back
yet.
with quotes.
See, we're
We'll
gonna.
get more quotes
We're
on
gonna
it.
let Mike get quotes for something similar that's our brand.
Okay.
That's a whole different brand of server.
But eventually they're gonna need that, is what he's saying,
We've gotta have the storage.
But you're requesting today to go ahead and get all that 50,000.
To encumber it for that server space that Mike's gonna quote. Okay?
Yeah.
Same thing for the redaction server, 5,000, because if he quotes another redaction server, like Texas talking about, it might be a little more than $4,400, okay?
Okay,
So I was
so
trying to set aside a little bit more, while we still had ARPA money to do.
including with the project manager, are they gonna actually have hands on here to help Mike and Tex? Because I would say just having a project manager, you still got Mike and Tex doing all the work. And I mean,
No,
I would say,
that's not the case. The project manager is gonna take and work with iPro, with our IT, with the sheriff's office, with any other vendor. And I started to say Cradle Point, but that, I may be wrong there. But any of the other vendors that are part of this whole project, that's who the project manager is gonna coordinate all those services together. So it's not like everything that IT's gonna have to do.
but I
It's
mean,
be
they're
all
not
the
gonna,
different places.
they're not gonna send any extra hands in to help.
No.
And that's where I was coming at. If they're not gonna send any extra hands in to help, I think with the 16,000 that we awarded to not go any further, we could possibly keep Synergy on for help to help all of this process work right here.
Synergy
you'll
is
have
in
some
a learning
bodies.
process right now to learn. We need the people to step up that can get this done. Synergy
I understand.
can learn.
But how,
from us.
okay, so they're learning from us. How much input have we offered them to learn? Probably not, because we don't wanna work with Synergy on it. That's what I was trying not to say. And I was just saying, if we actually need some bodies to help
That
us,
is not the case.
if we have some bodies to help us, because we never know if this don't work, we might have to go back to Synergy. There are a local company who can help with
That is
that.
not the case, and nobody's complaining. John, that was back there with Mike. We didn't have any complaints about him.
Well, I'm
We don't
not saying,
have
I'm
any
not
problems. He
saying
actually
it,
got
but
a
what I'm
couple
saying is,
things done.
you get an insurance policy, and then your insurance policy is out there for safety. In case something happen with your vehicle, you got an insurance policy, transmission blow up. Okay, you don't have to go pay that $3,500 yourself. You're paying this little $35 a month that's gonna cover that to keep you from paying the $3,500 at one time. If we actually have a backup company who's willing to help us in case this doesn't work, because we've been going through this for 1.5 years now, and we spent over $500,000 for this project, and it's still not working, who else are we gonna fall on if this doesn't work in 4 to 6 weeks?
Okay, so I want, let me.
That's the
stop-
only thing I was gonna ask
Let me
for
say this,
16,000.
okay? We say we've been working on this over a year, right? All the players have not been working together over a year because all the players didn't know what everybody's supposed to be doing because there was no GT project manager to keep all the pieces together.
You just
The
said it,
left
Judge.
hand did not know what the right hand was doing because we did not buy the professional services part of the contract. We bought the equipment.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And Nick said that, he tried to do it, and it's more than one person can do if they don't know all the players and how everything plugs in.
And I'm not knocking Mr. Nick
that's right.
because Mr. Nick, like he
I
said.
mean, it's a good question, though. I mean, we engaged with a third party, and now everybody wakes up. So that's kind of,
No,
I
that's
guess,
not the case.
Commissioner Hill might both, interested in that with why all of a sudden it cranks up, the week after we engage with somebody
So-
else.
But basically, Judge, you just said yourself, all parties were not together. And that's what caused this problem. So now we're all getting together and we have an understanding this what needs to be done. But you said it yourself, nobody knew the language. I mean, that was the problem right there. Nobody was together.
GTS thought, when we first called, I called them on Wednesday, okay? They thought everything was working fine.
Yes, sir.
They thought everything was moving along fine.
Who reported that to them?
Because I think we wanted to
It
have a
would've been the
report, the
project
court did,
manager, which-
from last court, that why the ball was dropped and what happened. I remember everyone up
All
here,
right, but
even
see-
you asked for that.
All right, but you made a statement about the last court. The last court was the first time that we engaged in a third party, and I didn't know it was coming. IT didn't know it was coming.
Yes, sir.
So essentially, after that happened, I asked the question, why is GTS not, and I'm not standing here answering our question?
Yes, sir. That's
Okay,
correct.
so I made a phone call and started getting those questions answered. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now she's here, and a lot of those questions have been answered. Now we're trying to engage with somebody that can get this project done. That's all I'm trying to do. So let's quit.
And I have no problem engaging. I'm
Okay.
just asking about, could we keep on another company just in
Why do
case?
we need to keep on another company that's learning the process? Why not just utilize that money, because we need that money. If not, we're gonna have to go into some more taxpayer money. Right now, we got ARPA money that's dedicated to this project, and we've got enough to pretty well finish it. So let's utilize the funds we have for the services that we need. That's all I'm asking.
There's nothing wrong with utilizing the funds.
We've had a motion and a second.
And
I
I,
voted yes, Commissioner Hill voted yes, Commissioner Dixon voted yes. How do y'all wish to vote?
and I was gonna vote yes, but I'm just asking to give them some hands. Because I know, as you always state, our IT department is stretched thin. You always state that.
We got 3 full-time people, 1 part-time person now.
Yes,
That's not the case it was in 2022 when they came to court and asked for help, in 2023 when
Well,
they came to court and asked.
I'll give it
And
an
then
eye
the
so we can
court
let it go.
actually
We have
gave us
4.
a
Which one are you
position.
gonna do, sir?
The
It's
court
aye.
actually
We got a
gave us
unanimous vote,
position, and
Judge.
it's made a difference.
Judge, we have a unanimous vote.
Okay, so y'all vote yes.
We have a unanimous vote.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'll get with you, we'll sign agreements, get it all approved, and we'll try to set up a Teams meeting either this afternoon or tomorrow, okay? Okay. You good to go? Thank y'all, I appreciate the court.
May I have an opportunity to address the optics of the IT department?
I don't wanna hear it. I'm sorry. I respect it, but I don't think we're done with it. We're done with the text. I respect it, but we're done with it.
So it should be done by April 22nd.
All right, next item on the agenda is item number 7, consider to take action on adopting an order number 002-2024, authorizing the sale of fireworks to the public by retail fireworks permit holders during the San Jacinto Day fireworks period, beginning April 16, 2024, and ending at midnight, April 21st, 2024. And this is something we have to do to allow the fireworks to be done. I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 8 is consider to take action on the annual contract between Anderson County and Elkhart Volunteer Fire Department. And that's in our budget. They've given us their financial statement. I'll entertain a motion to approve their contract.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? So ordered. Item number 9 is consider to take action on a preliminary plat for Dogwood Lake, Unit 3, located on FM 323. Commissioner Chapin.
He stepped out for just a second.
Okay. You got lots of copies there this morning.
I do.
Thanks, sir.
Just get one,
Thank you,
and
sir.
you can look at it.
Wow. You loading us down?
Can you get a laundry list of items to?
That'd be fine.
I'm gonna give me and him a look.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners.
Chapin, I called this agenda item, if you stepped out, I didn't realize you'd stepped out.
Yes, sir.
But you put that on the agenda.
Yes, sir, dear.
My name is David Kilgore. I am with Diamond J Properties, and this is the third phase of Dogwood Lake. And it's a
This
very
is the
small.
property- This is the one that's right before you get to the, well, one side goes Vernica Home, the other
That's
side goes to Railroad State Park, correct?
This
Yes.
is the one right past Calhoun's on the left.
Yeah, on the
Okay.
left.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Past Vernon Calhoun's old plant, it's right there on the left in the high fence area.
No,
Not the
this is
high fence around
actually,
the lake, but it's up above
It's
the
up to the
tracks.
front by the cemetery.
That's right.
it's on the,
Cemetery.
exactly, right
Yes,
across
sir.
from Woodlawn
Across
Cemetery.
from the cemetery.
Yes, sir.
And if
Across
you
the
know,
road line.
I'm a Hitchcock fan, and so Woodlawn Cemetery jumps out at me.
Yes, sir.
This property actually is directly across from that on Highway 84, but it's also off of FM 323, just before you get to the railroad tracks. And so this is the third phase. It's another very small phase out of 1,097 acres. We are getting very close to being the last phase. So this is 140 acres. 16 properties. The only item I do not have there for you is what the road number will be. And because the 911 actually needs y'all's approval on the
Before they issue it.
preliminary before they'll issue that.
And in the subdivision rules, it's, you're gonna put the private road number up, correct? The signs?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Okay. That's required in our subdivision rules. It's something I'm making sure that any subdivision that comes before us, I just wanna ask that question.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that's a good question because not every county does that.
Well, we've had problems in the past, and, to resolve that question, it's in our rules.
Okay. Absolutely, we will have any signs necessary. We do already have the permit from TxDOT. It was not on your item agenda, but I have it right here if anybody needs it, and the tax certificate. So that's the only thing we're missing on it. It's very simple and straightforward. We've, as the court knows, we've tried to go forward with Phase 2 and Phase 3 about 8 months ago, and things have been delayed. And so we're trying to get caught up on these two. Obviously, Phase 2 we already did, and then this one on Phase 3. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No, sir.
It's in the ETJ or not?
My understanding, it is no longer in the ETJ.
No, but it's within a mile of the city limits, correct?
It is within a mile of the city limits, yes, sir. And just like the Phase 2, I submitted that on November 30th of last year. The city did come back and give me a form that they requested to fill out and submit that information with legal descriptions of the properties. And so everything that we had remaining, the 3 parcels of land we had remaining, I requested it be removed on December 7th of last year.
And that was over 90 days ago,
Yes.
along with the fact that they refused to give you water and sewer, correct?
Correct. Well, the city could not.
Yes, they weren't gonna do it. They weren't gonna build a line
Right.
out there.
Right. And although the water line actually goes right in front of our property.
Mm-hmm.
The city water line goes in front of our property, yes.
But everybody's having to do wells, right?
Yes, sir. And the water study's in there, it's required. These properties also, just to let you know, typically, our original plan, had we had water and those other items, we would have had a lot smaller properties. These properties actually average over 8 acres, 8.65. That's what these average on this phase. So there's only 16 properties on 140 acres.
Any questions?
No, sir.
I'll entertain a motion to approve. And then this is just preliminary?
Yes.
This is the preliminary, yes, sir.
Preliminary plat for Dogwood Lake Unit 3, located on FM 323. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Go ahead. I'll second that.
All right, motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Chapin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all abstain.
May I ask one quick question?
Sure.
When we do bring this to final, y'all's requirements do say that you want Mylars and all those type of things. How many copies do you want? And you don't want Mylars?
No, please no Mylar. It bleeds on the covers of the
Okay.
envelopes it goes in. It literally destroys the map.
So 3 copies, paper. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, so yeah, have you got,
Those are for your review.
okay, nothing to be signed today?
No, sir. No, sir. As long as 911 doesn't need your signature, it just needs the court's approval to give us a road
Issue
number.
the road number.
I'll initial this and get it
Thank you, sir.
in the minutes, okay?
Thank you.
That's a preliminary.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 10 is consider and take action on the East Texas Cattle Women's Association meeting in the Ag Extension Office, April 26, 2024. Commissioner Chapin.
Yes, sir. They've reached out to us, Truman and I both, or they reached out to me and I reached out to Truman, and he really wants to support this because it's ag related, and he wants to allow these ladies to be able to come over here and meet. There's only gonna be about 10 or 12 of them, probably meet upstairs in the conference room. So it's an organization here locally, you know, and that's what they're wanting to do. And I just want to make sure the court knows that they are gonna use the building on the 28th, to be approximately between 6 and 8, I'm guessing,
26.
But that's on,
or 6 and 8.
that's on the
at
first
time,
floor
yeah.
in their conference room.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, they got enough chairs in there.
Yes, sir, there's plenty, yeah,
There's
there's,
a conference table to do.
yeah, it's, I think there's a couple of out-of-county ladies, but I think the rest of them are all local ladies. And it's their organization that they've started up, so.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the East Texas Cattle Women's Association
So moved.
meeting at the extension office on the first floor.
So moved.
So moved, okay. Motion by Commissioner Hill, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Mims, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, so ordered. Item number 11, consider to take action on land use agreement with Winston Wilson, Precinct 4 Road Bridge Department. Commissioner Hill.
Yes, sir, it's the same, pretty much the same agreement I have, every year with Mr. Winston. I've been, leasing this ever since I come into office. Same price as last year, $3 a yard. One thing that we did add this year, he's opening up a additional 10 acres for us, to store material, wrap, rock and stuff that we mix in with our oil sand. And, I'm gonna pay him a sum of $2,500 per year, for that area, and that'll keep us from whenever we get the wrap from the state or whatever, we haul it straight there and dump it instead of taking it to my yard or wherever, dumping it and then loading it again. And when we get ready to mix, we can haul everything there and dump it, and then we'll have it right there to mix with our oil sand. And I have a signed, I didn't make copies, but I'll make you a copy, Mark, but I do have a signed by Mr. Winston.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Chapin, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered. Item number 12, consider to take action on the purchase of a Canon IR ADV DX 6855i copier for the county clerk's office. Mark?
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. So this copier is the one we use for our front that make we make our birth and death record copies from. It's going to be 9 years old this year. We're going to move it back to where we had some printers that we had that we're going to use that old copier to replace the printers that we lost. So they're newer printers, but unfortunately, we tried a couple of maintenance kits and they won't work. And as you know, we're trying to get away from paper as much as we can. So we're going to utilize that 9-year-old copier. It's either this year that they can't order parts for it or next year. So it's getting close to end of life. So it's still a good copier, but I want to go ahead and just move it back rather than buying 2 new printers to replace the ones that don't work anymore. Any questions?
Entertain a motion to approve the copier.
Can I make a comment? Matt, I just want the court to know, since we're talking about purchasing a copier, there are many copiers on our inventory list. I think it's 15 or 20 that are about to be at the end of life. So, $7,000 copier, just wanted the court to be aware in the next, I think it's the next year. Yeah,
Is
so,
it cheaper now to outright purchase them
Yes.
than lease them?
yes.
Because I know for years we leased.
Yes, it is cheaper to purchase, but,
Yeah.
7,000 copier, and then offices are trying to get color, which costs even more, and then the price of the color copy, it costs a lot as well. So I just want the court to be aware, so when this keeps happening, and I say we're out of money.
I think the issue is going through trying to see if some of them actually need to be utilized or not anymore.
Yes,
Because we found one at the jail, I think she was asking questions.
yeah, I think it's the JP one
It was
that's.
the one that the JP's had in that other room.
The JP one? It was.
I think it's back functioning now, but the one in our administrative wing, only makes copies.
No, I meant locked up, like no one can use it.
Oh, I'm not aware of this.
Okay,
I knew that we got some service.
yeah. Just so the court's aware.
No, not yet.
Oh,
Okay. Thanks.
What?
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the copier for the county clerk's office.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
And of course, that'll come out of capital outlay.
Item number 13,
Thank
consider
you.
to take action to request renewal quotes on property and mobile equipment schedules from Texas Association of Counties for July the 1st, 2024 through June the 30th, 2025. Ms. Lambright.
This is just our yearly request that we send to TAC to start working on our pricing. Need the court to approve.
Kathy will have it.
Any questions on that? I'll entertain a motion to approve the renewal on quotes for property and mobile equipment schedule with TAC. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 14, consider to take action on approving the purchase and installation of security light fixtures for the Anderson County Jail from Peace of Mind Electric at a cost of $11,032.
Yeah, Commissioners,
Well,
Judge. We've got light fixtures that are continually going out. Of course, given the age of the building, that's not gonna stop anytime soon. Typically, in the past, 2 out of the 3 of these would have come out of capital outlay, given the cost of them. But when we changed the threshold for capital outlay last year, it kind of placed us in a predicament in having to take that kind of money out of building repairs without having budgeted to take that additional money, the extra $1,500. It used to be $1,000, as you remember, and now it's $1,500 or $2,500 for capital outlay. Is going to be a budget breaker for us. I mean, basically, that's over 10% of our building repairs budget in that line. So what I'm going to ask the court to do is take this out of some other fund. To me, the auditor and I had a discussion about this, and to me, it's as permanent as an air conditioner because it lasts the same amount of time. It's as permanent as a water heater or a boiler. but.
Historically, this is not something that we capitalize. This would be a repair item. We don't usually put this kind of thing on inventory.
Do you not repair the air conditions though, like he's saying?
I mean, you replace them, but that's what I'm saying. Historically, we have not put these types of things on our inventory, so we
Are
don't
these
capitalize
lights
them.
in the jail cells, or where are these lights at? That's what
Well,
I'm-
they're on the quotes, Judge, but I can answer that. Two of them are in the jail cells. The $7,000 quote is to replace the lights on the outside of the building and on, the security pole out there so that we can, get lights where they need to be there, because it's fairly dark around there now. And, the other ones are in the rec yard.
Regardless if the court chooses to pay for it out of a different source, not the sheriff's office, it would not be a permanent improvement item. It would be a capital outlay item. But historically, this is not something that we capitalize.
We managed to stay under budget in building repairs last year, but I can, I didn't realize the ramifications that change in capitalization amounts was gonna have on our budget until, this kind of stuff started coming in. I started seeing how fast our budget was depleting over the year.
About how much is left now? It's 90,000, I don't know.
It started at 90, I think we're at 65, and we're
Something
still
like
in the
that.
first quarter.
And plus, things are not cheap
More
anymore.
expensive, yeah.
Let me ask a question, because
Sure.
on the next item is the control boards.
Yes, sir.
To me, that's more of a capital outlay than this one.
Well, I think,
What if we do this, what if we kind of split it? If your repair budget does this one and the capital outlay does the board, that's what I'm asking.
Judge, I'm just trying not to
And
come
then
back
if we
and,
need to do something at the end, or your budget's slated towards the end, then we'll just address it, is that okay?
well, I would prefer not to do that because it's gonna force me to rob money from other places in my budget instead of coming back to the court and asking for more building repair money, because that'd be the right thing to do, is to try to stay within my budget overall.
Well,
And,
I'm not saying that, what I'm saying is if it gets down to the end of the year and your repair budget is getting close, then we'll see about taking some of the repairs and moving it into your budget, doing a budget amendment.
how about this, Judge? I don't mind paying, I don't have a problem in the world paying the $2,000 one and the, hang on, what's the other one? The $1,870 one out of building repairs, if the court would fund the $7,000 one out of capital outlay, or some other fund.
Where are you taking the next one from, Nick, the 10,000 for the control board?
I'm gonna assume it'd come from capital outlay, that'd be up to the court and the auditor.
I mean, that's something that's not replaced all the time,
Yeah.
that's pretty unique there.
Well, these light fixtures are 20 years old, so they're not replaced all the time either, Judge.
No,
They
I-
lasted as long as these control boards.
Well, I understand, it's a little more of a repair than the boards, is what I was thinking. So, I don't know, what does the court think?
That's fine, if he's willing to pay the two, and we take the,
Pay the 2190 and the 1870,
From the sheriff's budget, and then,
the
7,000.
7372 out of capital outlay.
and I'll put that in the form of motion.
Motion by Commissioner Mills, do I have a second?
Second.
Can y'all repeat that? Because I don't have any backup. I don't know how much y'all are talking about.
Okay,
We're gonna pay the 2190 and the 1870
from the sheriff's
from the
ASO
sheriff's
building
budget.
repairs.
building repairs. And then the 7,372 will come out of capital outlay.
Okay.
All right, that was motion by Commissioner Mills.
Yes, sir.
Have you got the finance part straight?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I just didn't have any
Is there a
enclosures.
second?
I made a second.
Second by Commissioner Hill, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Okay. Item number 15 is consider and take action on approving the purchase of an installation of two new control boards for master control room and jail at a cost of $10,709.88 from Montgomery Technology. I'll make the motion, to take that out of capital outlay. And approve the purchase and installation of 2 new control boards for the master control in the jail that cost $10,709.88.
It should be noted that it was originally 14,000, and Lieutenant Pearson actually went back at them and said, did you quote touchscreen? And they said, yes. I said, we don't need touchscreen. And that knocked 4,000 off of it.
So that's my motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, so ordered. Item number 16, consider and take action on authorizing the sheriff's office to hire up to 6 additional jailers to be paid out of sheriff's office contingency until the Senate Bill 22 funds arrive. Guess what?
I'm up again.
The money is here.
Oh, it's here.
It came
Well, I
last
guess we
week.
can pass on
Put
that
it this
then.
came
way, I
last
stayed
week.
on top, I called the comptroller's office about a week and a half ago. And I said, I wanna make sure all the documents, cause I went through more than one document that I had to sign off on. And I was here at different things, and I wasn't sure they got every piece of document. Anyway, she said yes, and I could tell she'd been on the phone with way too many people.
I bet
And
she
she
is.
was not wanting to be on the phone. Anyway, she said, we'll be issuing it 1 to 2 weeks, so we got the money, we got it right at the end of the week. Or about the end of the week, so Megan's been gone.
So we're good to go with going ahead and hiring those other 6?
Yeah.
All right,
So we don't have
fantastic.
to.
It's just a matter of bookkeeping.
That's a hallelujah moment for you.
Absolutely.
And
'Cause we
sheriff.
got 4 applications in process right this minute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Alright, so we can pass on item number 16. Okay. Item number 17, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Judge, 1 second, please. We go back to the, utility crossings. Greg Redmond, utility crossings, while I was outside with Ms. Martha going over the tax stuff. But on those utility crossings, Atmos Energy had actually called me, Mr. Lopez. They're gonna have to, it's a utility crossing, but they're gonna construct a new culvert there also. And they have to make a new access point to get into what the current situation is going on right now. And it'll be off of the same road, 2610, and, there'll be 2 different profiles and everything, cause they have the state people and everybody's driving in and they need access point to go out there. That's what, just make sure.
Since that's on our consent agenda, do you need to make another motion, to make that more specific, or are we good? We approved crossing
You approved the utility crossing, but it was just, you
on
didn't,
2610,
Yes, sir.
2608.
yes, sir, but y'all didn't.
I didn't specify that
They
they were
need
gonna be
culverts.
installing a culvert, and that's what he wanted to make sure that the court was aware that there would be a culvert, not just that they're going under the road.
Yeah, we have state and federal guys in right now, and there's no access point to go see the current situation that's going on.
Okay. Going back to item number 4, then on the consent agenda, approving utilities crossing county roads, you wanna state that in a motion so it's clear?
Yes, sir. Also stating that on 2610 and 2608, they will be installing culverts which will be done by Watkins Construction, because they don't want the county or anybody else to be touching doing it for the state and federal access to get in to see the current situation that's going on out there. I think that's the best way I need to put it.
And that's utilities crossing those county roads.
Yes, sir.
All right, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.
Thank you,
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Mims.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered.